If you don't own property, maybe you're in an assisted living, maybe you're a young person and you don't own a house yet. Each state is different, but it usually starts about 50,000 to 100,000 per state. That's kind of the threshold of when we would hope, I'm not an advisor, when we would hope you would have a trust set up. Decide if a trust is needed according to those dollar amounts we just talked about. How to structure the trusts. There are many, many, many styles of trusts. So you can have a myriad of ways that trust is structured under different titles. There might be a unitrust. There may be a benevolence trust. There's all kinds of different trusts, and that's why we need to get those trusted advisors involved in our process. And you want to find trusted advisors. This is the toughest part. How do you know who's a good guy and who's a shyster? Yeah, how do you know? You need to ask a lot of hard, pokey nose in questions. Poke your nose into somebody else's business. So if I was next to Stu and Sherry and I lived here in Racine, I'd be like, hey, you guys, I know you've got your plan done. Who's your people? It's okay to have that conversation, remember, because we're building a new belief system. It's okay to talk about death. It's okay to be a responsible adult. So let's talk about it and talk to people that we trust. If you have someone you really trust and you see they've done well in their life and you think, hey, I wonder who their advisors are, ask. Stu, would you be embarrassed if somebody came and asked you that question? Who are your advisors?
Yes.
You would be embarrassed? Not after today, right, Stu?
Yes. You should ask Sherry.
Ask Sherry. Okay, well, we still get the same thing done. You need attorneys, you need a CPA. Sometimes people need religious guidance. Maybe they need to talk to their pastor. Because some people have a different view of death and departure than others, and they need some spiritual guidance there. And we need to decide about our care plans. So, if, heaven forbid, we have a terminal illness that comes upon us, we need to know what we want at the end of our life. And it can be very, very clear what you want. And you need somebody to know about your final wishes and what you will and will not tolerate during the process of your care. Do you have a generosity plan? A friend just came up and talked with me about about giving money away. What does that look like? Who gets what? I talked to you about mom and the yellow notepad. That's important for personal property. Where will you keep the most important documents? Okay, so if you're in a pinch, you can put them in a clipper, on a magnet, on the refrigerator if you have to. If you have a more robust estate, I would strongly advise that, even though I'm not an advisor, I just used the wrong word, I would suggest, as your friend Jill, that you let somebody know where your important documents are. So the trust that we did with my folks, you end up with a big old notebook full of stuff. And I'm their executor, so I know where the notebook is. But we did something else. I asked the attorney for a second copy. Anybody have any idea why I would ask for a second copy of that? In case it gets burned, in case of disaster, what have you. I had that second copy sent to the West Coast, to the northwest corner of the nation, to a sister-in-law that lives up there who has a copy of it in case I can't get to it. Store it somewhere else. Not even in your state, it would be my suggestion. Send it to somebody else that has a copy, okay? That's an important thing because stuff happens, right? We see it across the nation all the time. People lose their house, all kinds of things. So whoever is your friend, family, Whoever it is you've trusted with this information, they need to know where those documents are. Yes, question?
Does the attorney keep a copy?
The attorney does have a copy. Yep. But if you are in a situation, perhaps you have end-of-life plans in that same folder. Somebody has quick access to it, and it's a Sunday, and the attorney's office is not open for a 4-day weekend. You won't have anything till Tuesday. That's not going to get it for you.
But if your copy burns up in a fire,
Yes,
you
yes.
can get another copy.
You could. Great question, Claudio.
I guess when you say who gets what, the personal properties,
Mm-hmm.
do you have to be certified, or can you just have a note?
You can have a note. Yeah, you can. It's a great question. The question is, on personal property, if you've made a direction of who gets what can you do? It's called an addendum to your will. It can be attached to your will. It says personal property is attached. It can be that simple. And it's easily adjusted as an addendum to your will.
What if your attorney dies?
If your attorney dies, you need to look at your plan again, my friend. Yes. The plan is still in place. It's probably still recorded somewhere. And you just need to make sure you get that taken care of and have a crucial conversation on Monday.
Normally, an attorney's office has more than one attorney,
Of
and as long
course,
as
yeah.
it's in
Not
within,
always.
but not always, you
Yeah,
need to
that's
find
true.
out if they sold out to somebody else or somebody
Right.
else bought
Yes, yeah.
clients.
Okay, discuss any long-term fears with your trusted advisors and your executor. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, dear attorney, I am married to my second husband, and I have 3 kids, and he had 3 kids. And most of our kids are good people. But we have this one guy. We got this one guy. And everything we say, if I say black, he says white. If I say run, he says stop. So, how do I make sure all of the stuff that I wanted to go to the church goes? Because, he's also an atheist. You hear these stories over and over and over and over again. So, you need to be able to be very frank when you go into those conversations with those trusted advisors. You're trusting them with your financial portfolio, but I wanted to warn you, you're also trusting them with your emotional portfolio. And you need to be able to do that. So as Christians, I'm just going to say, please pray as you're making those decisions about advisors. Please pray about who to visit with, because we've all had experiences with people that were less than honest and were not worthy of our trust. And so the Lord will guide you, and he will reward you for your faithfulness in prayer. I'm a huge proponent for fasting and praying. I believe it's that important if you want to fast and pray before you make those conversations. I would think that would be a great place to start too. Okay, how can I give after my death? So, I know that everybody in this room is generous, but 9 times out of 10, the biggest gift we can ever give is when we no longer need the resources on this earth. So, at the end of our life is when we have the most money available, because we don't have to pay rent here anymore. When we graduate to heaven, that's it. So, we want to be thinking about, and in our planning, think about and pray about who to give to and how much. Can I give and still leave something to our family? Of course, yes, you can. You can't be one or the other. Most people are like, I can't give anything to the charity job because I've got kids. Well, so do I. Yeah, I know. See your wishes for generosity. Share them with your trusted advisors. And you're just going to say, hey, I had a life-changing experience because of adoption. And I absolutely am pro-life, Mr. Certified Financial Planner. And so one of the things I want to be able to do is to leave 50% of my whole estate to CareNet or to whomever you want to give. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's going to talk to you. He may talk to you. He may not be a Christian. He might be a trusted advisor for you, but maybe he's not a Christian. Maybe he doesn't understand your belief in tithe and offerings. Maybe he doesn't understand your charitable heart. Maybe he doesn't understand the biblical references to giving. But you're going to have to be able to say to him, hey, this is the percentage you're working with. And this is how we're going to make that work. Please have that decided before you walk into the room. Because when you talk with someone, you might start to second guess yourself. You ever done that? Gone out, ladies, we've all done this. We know we're going to have a special event. We have to have a special dress, right? And you have in your mind the dress you want. But then you get to the dress shop and they're having 75% off. And you think, well, this is only $25. I think this will get her done. I'm going to wear this one. And then you wear it and you think, ugh, this looks like a $25 dress. I should have not done that. But you were swayed in the moment. Don't do that to yourselves. Don't do that to yourself. Don't be swayed in the moment. This considers a lot of time. This should be a huge part of your planning. Okay, help me remember your first name.
Martha.
Martha, thank you very much. Martha came forward and she said, let's talk about charity. I said, we are going to talk about charity right now. Here's the easy way to make eternal impacts. It is so, so simple. In your will, you can just say, I, Jill Marie Anderson, being of sound mind, want to leave 50% of my total net worth at the end of my life to ABC Charity or ABC Church or whatever you want to say. That can be a part of your will. It'll be stipulated in your trust. Your executor will know it. All of these things will be lined out. It could be as simple as buying a new life insurance policy. You're thinking, oh, okay, I've got all these kids. Here's my folks, they've got 8 kids. So there's 16 of us before you start counting urchins. It's a big old herd. So when you start thinking about that, you say, okay, well, I've already kind of got things lined out, but I'm in love with this new ministry that's at the church. And I want to see that ministry goes forward. So Bill and Jill are going to go and buy a new life insurance policy. We're just going to put together a $100,000 policy. I'm going to pay that premium, and I'm going to make the beneficiary the church. It's that simple. It's done. Okay? Golly, I have so many assets already separated because I've got all these kids, or I don't have anybody to care about the things that I care about. What could I do with all this jewelry? Or my mother, who is an art collector, she's got all these works of art. I have had the biggest challenge of my career so far was someone that left me a stamp collection. Guess how much I know about stamps? Bupkis, nothing. It ended up being an amazing gift. Now, it took a lot of work to figure all that out and to get it valued and figure out how to liquidate it, but my goodness, was it generous. And so there's also gifts of property. Somebody can give you property. That's happened before. One of the things you cannot do is what's called a pre-arranged sale. So I had a lovely, lovely donor in Austin, and she had owned most of the property that U of T was built on. And there was one cockeyed parcel that was literally a piece of a puzzle slice in the middle of the campus that she still owned. And so it was worth a lot of money. And she said, Jill, I want you to come down here. I'm going to give this property to you. I've had it appraised, and I want you to sell it to this guy, and we're going to close on this day. And I was like, whoa. I said, I thought you and I were friends. She said, oh, we are friends. I said, good. Do you want me to go to jail? Because that's how we go to jail. And I said, I can't do that. That's called a prearranged sale. It's totally illegal and absolutely unethical, and we can't do that. I said, you can deed that property to me, but then I'm going to have to pay for the appraisal, and we will have to put it on the market for a legalized sale, and you get to have no say in it. But the benefit is you get the full amount of what your trusted advisors say that property is worth in your tax plan. Well, she didn't like me for a couple of weeks. And we got the deal done. But it was horrifically hard to do because it wasn't the structure of the gift was difficult. It was the emotion of the giving. Because she wanted it to look like this. But that's not charitable, folks. If you put stipulations to the point that it is not donor intention, the donor intent has not been followed, that's really not charitable. And in this case, where there's prearranged sales and there's millions of dollars involved, it's illegal. So ethics are important. All right, so there's ways here, and we'll talk about this a little bit. I can get too much going on here, so I can't give you so many case studies. Restricted and unrestricted gifts. This is important because people don't really understand this. John Q. Public donor. And so I just want to educate you in the truisms of this too, as you're looking at your state plans. So Dr. Dave, professor at MIT, probably has affinity for MIT, right, Dave?
I'm not giving it.
I'm not probing, I'm just making an example.
I have a strong affinity, but I'm not giving him any money.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, so years ago, as close as the closest I ever got to Harvard was sitting next to a gal at a training, and we were doing endowment work together, and she was there stressed out because one of her endowment accounts was not performing well. It only had $80 million in it. God love her. So MIT has a lot of money. Harvard has a lot of money. Yale's got plenty. There's all these places that have plenty of money. There are places that don't have plenty of money. So, as a savvy donor and a savvy planner for our estates, we can say, I want to change the reflection in the future for this organization. And I care about missions. I care about education. I care about outreach and evangelism. All these things that you care about. You can restrict your gift to that organization and say, I want this dollar amount. This $100,000 that I'm giving is restricted, and it only goes for mission trips. Or here's $500,000, and it goes just for scholarships for Christian education. Or I want to give $1 million as a seed for an endowment. And I want 10 other people to meet me with their $1 million. And we're going to put together a $10 million endowment whereby the church can roll off the interest of that. Now, an endowment, they have to disperse in grants for public grantors. They have to disperse 4 to 5% every year. What would be ideal is if this church, I know you have a pretty good sized group, somebody puts together a $10 million endowment for this church. What that does is it frees up all the offerings to come and take care of what's happening for missions and outreaches. And 100% of their dollar is going for mission and outreaches because the offset income from the endowment is paying for the lights, the heat, the pastor, their insurance, their benefits, what have you, all these things. So you can think about that. There are gifts into perpetuity. That's a gift that's called into perpetuity. I like to say till Jesus comes. That gift's there till Jesus comes. unless written otherwise. So this is where you have to be a savvy donor. When you're going to make a major gift to your church, to your charity of choice, to your alma mater, whatever you're going to do, the first thing I would do as a savvy donor is I would say, I would like to see your gift acceptance policy, please. I want to see the policy. Because if they do not share their gift acceptance policy, there's something sketch going on. Or maybe they just haven't grown to that part yet. If someone calls me and said, well, this actually happened. This happened 2 weeks ago. We have a donor who wants to give us a major gift in gold bars. Cool. I don't know what to do with that. So I'm going to get research, right? I do know what to do with that. But here's the thing, you have to be ready. And so I have to think to myself, do we accept that? You better know, as a gift officer, you better know what the policy is. And as a donor, you better know how they're going to use your money. If Stu says, Jill, I want you to take this $5, go downtown, buy 2 Pepsis, drink one and bring one back to me. He has put together a very clear plan for us, right, Stu? You know what to do. Okay, all right. If I don't know what Pepsi is, and I accept the gift, is there a problem? There's a problem. Okay, so be very clear about the gifts and how to handle it. And you really, really need to understand unrestricted gifts, okay? An unrestricted gift is a gift that, say it's to the church. They go to the mailbox on Monday and they open up a check, there's $500,000 there. And you'll say that never happens. It does happen. 2 years ago, someone mailed up to our home office $1 million personal checking account check. Unsolicited, didn't know the guy, boom. Okay. So, an unrestricted gift, what does that mean? That means Jill and Bill Anderson trust this pastor so much, they're just going to give him this money. And with no stipulations. Okay, then that means the onus is on the pastor for the highest and best use of that gift. And it might be to keep the lights on. It might be to pay for the repairs on the children's Sunday school bus, whatever it is. But you as a donor, you need to be able to use the words, this is a restricted gift for widgets, or this is an unrestricted gift for highest and best use. Go ahead.
So would where needed most designations that a lot of organizations have, would that be the same as an unrestricted gift?
Where needed most is an unrestricted gift. That's a great question. That's correct. One and the same. Yep. Anything else? Is that confusing to anybody? Okay, great. It frees up and it defines for folks. One of the things that you'll see here, I'm going to ask for help from the class. I want you each to take one of these and then pass them around. This is a piece that I developed for our organization. I'm a visual learner. Most of us are. Most of us are visual learners. So, for CareNet, the national office, as Stu so completely revealed earlier this morning, we have 1,300 independent affiliated offices throughout the nation. Each one of those affiliations, they raise their own support. But I raise support for the headquarters, who supports all of those centers. So we have a thing that's called CareNet University. There's 26 courses. But if you decided on Monday, this church is going to have a pregnancy resource center here, I can teach you how to do that. And I can support you to do that. And you're going to have everything that you need to do that from now until into perpetuity or until Jesus comes. Okay? That's my job. Now, one of the things that you get with me when people are coming and they have a major conversation and they've been some of our folks have given to our organization a long, long, long time. We celebrated 50 years last year, and some people have been giving almost that entire time. And I will also encourage you as a donor the richest people aren't always the most faithful people. The widow that gives $25 a month, and she has for the last 50 years, she's my number one person to go and talk to about playing gifts because she's been so faithful. We have markers in our office, people that have given 25 gifts, 50 gifts, 100 gifts. We start to see things. Those are people that are deeply, deeply invested with us, and we treat them as trusted investors. That's what my job is to partner with those ministry partners and see what they want and how can I make that relationship more meaningful to them. And when they have conversations and we start talking about things, this is one of the things that people say. Now, Jill, we're getting older. We've been given to you for 50 years. And how can I help the ministry the most? So here's a couple of things. There's charitable remainder trust. There's charitable lead trust. There's non-cash assets. And when I say those words, everybody goes blink, blink, blink. That's not everyday language, right? No. What I need to be able to do is talk to them about their gifts of art, or maybe they have grandma's necklace, or maybe they have this, that, or the other. I want to hear what it is that they want to give and where their heart is speaking to them. And these are the gifts for which we can professionally and presently help them in stewarding their giving. So one of the things I encourage people about, I'll walk through these gifts, and you can take this home with you today, and I have several more if you want more. What I say is, this is just the iceberg. This is the beginning, tip of the iceberg. These are the gifts that we are readily and daily accepting in our ministry, because we do have a gift acceptance policy, and we do have a cost of doing business, but this is where we are right now. And I would ask you, Dawn, to take this piece to your trusted advisors, your CPA, your attorney, and when you're making your plan, these are things that we care about, that we can handle for you at CareNet, and if you care about that same thing, this might be a good avenue to have that conversation, okay? So you're going to read this, you're going to feel just a little more confident before you go to those appointments, and you're going to have just a little bit more information. And hopefully for all the organizations that you care about, you can find a trust officer or a plan giving officer, a professional fundraiser, whatever you want to call us, and they'll be able to tell you, oh yeah, this is how we accept gifts here. And this is what we're doing presently. Sherry, you have a question?
No, I'm just wanting to talk to Chris later about, I don't think we are set up at our church for all of this.
Probably not to this level.
Chris, are you a pastor?
I am,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
We've been talking about you today. It's nice to meet you. Okay. Is that helpful? Confusing? Question?
Okay, so, one of the criteria that I've gone through in the past was how much the money that's given actually goes to the individual or the organization versus fundraising percentages. And it seemed like it used to be like 88% or some kind of the bar was real high. Now it seems like the bar is lower quite a bit.
Okay, you are a fancy donor. I love this. This is good. This is good stuff. All right, so that is called cost of fundraising. So this is a great thing for all of you to know. When you're looking at a gift of this denomination, at this level, an end-of-life estate plan, I would encourage you, just as my brother just talked about, research the charity. Okay, research them. So there's a place online called Charity Navigator, and there are levels with which that there's transparency of the organization. You want a platinum, gold, you want really transparent people, because they are willingly sharing their 990 and everything they do, and their cost of fundraising is usually less than 20 cents on the dollar. And that's really what you want. That's kind of the gold standard, less than 20 cents on the dollar. For many years, I prided myself. I stayed at 10 and 11 cents on the dollar at the hospital system. We stayed there about 15 cents on the dollar for American Cancer. Red Cross was much higher. I don't know what they are now, but the years that I worked with them, they were always 25, 30 cents, a little higher, but also an international organization. And huge amounts of money for deployment, paramilitary system. So a lot of deployment costs. So those situations, really do your research. Charity Navigator is a great one. Better Business Bureau, also a great one. Better Business Bureau is really shining these days in grading charities. Now, the other thing is, most churches don't have a rating. Grantors do, foundations do, those kinds of things, but churches usually don't. So, Pastor Chris,
Yeah.
now I know your name, you're gonna be sorry. Pastor Chris, so I come to you, I've been a member here for 25 years, and I want to leave a major estate, and I want to talk to you about that. I'm assuming you have a pastoral team.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm assuming you have a church board.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So could we have some crucial conversations with either yourself or a portion of those team members? Awesome. Look at there.
Absolutely.
There's transparency setting up
So I
right there.
probably spoke a little too quick.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful finance team that, is
There
made
you
up of
go.
people that
Even deeper.
handle,
Yeah.
this as well. Just because, well, one of the reasons I'm here is because I don't know this stuff.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well,
but,
look at us all learning
But there
together.
are people that are definitely gifted in that way that probably
Great.
that can handle this.
Okay, good. Okay, so talk, communication, plan, and plan. All right, that's gonna be one of the things we do. So, there are so many ways that you can give to a charity. And this is not meant to intimidate you. These are real trusts. These are real ways you can do this. So, one of the ways, a friend and I were talking about earlier, she cares so much for the organization that I serve, but she also cares for her kids. And they're making a ton of money. And she has all these holdings that keep earning, and so she doesn't know what her end of life is going to be. She said, Jill, I can't tell you what the net gift is going to be. And I want it to be as much as possible at the end of my life. So what can I do? I said, great. Let's put together a charitable remainder trust. At the end of your life, everybody gets dispersed the way you decide it to be, and whatever's left will come to your charity of choice. Okay? Real simple. Real simple. So there's some things that we can do, and you can just figure that out. As you know, I know that I'm just giving you so much homework. You have a lot to think about, but it's going to really help you when you figure some time into this. And here's the hard part. A simple way to help your loved ones. Some of these books aren't as finesse as you might think. I'm dead, now what? Gone, but still telling you what to do plan.
That's the one my mom.
There we go. All right, so this is an important part of what we've talked about, is what happens if the unexpected happens, okay? So one of the things that we want to make sure we have, again, Amazon, $15, you get all three of these tools. Here's a living trust agreement, and here's a living will agreement. The other thing that you can do is go to your local hospital and tell them, I would like to have a 5 wishes booklet, please. The booklet is called 5 Wishes. I would bet my sandwich from lunch that your hospital will have that at the ready for you to take home for free. If they don't, you can go to Amazon and get a whole package of them for next to nothing, $10, $15. And what does it do? It tells everybody what you want. It tells people how you want your funeral to take place. It tells people who you want, that you want Aunt Bertha to sing and not Aunt Betty. It tells people where you want the service. It tells people your medical directives. Medical directives. Why is that important? Okay, I'm hit in a car wreck, and I'm 111 years old. I do not want them doing CPR on me, because when they do CPR on me, they're going to break all of my ribs, and then I'm going to die of pneumonia anyway. And I'm 111 years old. So I'm going to have a thing called DNR, do not resuscitate. But if somebody doesn't have a copy of that, does it exist? Nope. Because of attorneys and insurances, we must be able to prove that, and we must be able to share with people what this is and why it is. So the living will is very important It's a durable power of attorney. That means a guy in my position, so I'm 111 years old, my 65-year-old niece is my durable power of attorney because I cannot speak. She has this, and she said, hey, Aunt Betty does not want to be resuscitated, and I have the paperwork, and it's right here ready to go. I can prove she doesn't want that. So don't you dare do CPR on her.
And one
Yes.
thing on that,
Yes.
they take you away in the ambulance, you must send the paperwork with them. Because once you get to the hospital, they don't have time to look it up, even if it's on your chart.
Right. They will not
They
look it up.
resuscitate you anyways.
When I said emergency paperwork on the refrigerator in case something happens, grab and go. You can grab and go. The other thing that you can do is make sure that you have that at the hospital on file. They will put that with your file.
But
They
they
will
won't
keep
always
that.
look.
They won't always
You're
look.
right about that.
They won't always look.
You're right.
But you need to make sure you have it. The 5 wishes goes even a little deeper about your DNR and who's your pastor, who do you want to call, who do you want in the room. You can have people in the room or not in your room. Folks, you can make as many decisions as you want to at your end of life or in an emergency. Please give thought to that. Because I have friends who I love like family. Because we cannot choose our family, can we? And not all of my family gives me peace. And if I were in an emergency situation, there are friends I want there, and maybe not so much all my family. So I want to be able to say that. I'm making light of it, but it is a heavy truth. It's a heavy truth. Okay, so these silly little books, very, very, very important. These are real books, also available on Amazon. Here's an end-of-life planner. So, somebody's going to go home with this today. And in this, it's from Clever Fox. I have no clue. It's just a publishing. There's information here: personal, medical, arrangements, dependents, finance, business, beneficiaries, key contacts. Then it goes to property, insurance, pets. Who's going to do what with your pets? What do you do with your pets? Accounts and memberships. Oh my goodness. Don't let them take out my gym membership. I just died. Okay, login information. They need to be able to get into your accounts. Instructions, my wishes, last words. Last words. What do you want your niece to know about you? What did you want her to hear that we're never able to say because you stumbled over the words? Or, what is the keypad number to the garage for the house they must get in and clean before the funeral? Make sure you vacuum, don't you dare let my mother see that. So yeah, those kinds of things. Somebody that is who is in the process of planning right now, raise your hand. Who's in the process?
I'm working on that.
You are? Okay, here's your book. You jump start. There you go, girl.
I
Responsibility.
actually went online the other night because my
Uh-huh.
friend's dad just passed away, so I'm thinking she's having all these problems with his accounts and things here and there, and I said, I really have to
Uh-huh.
get that in order.
Okay. Yes, you really gotta. You really gotta. You gotta. Okay. POD, pay on death. If you have a checking account, who has a checking account? Who has a savings account? If you do not have a POD on your accounts, make sure you have that Monday. Who does this pay to on death? So that they can get into your accounts. Otherwise, they will not be able to access that money. Okay?
Even if the
POD.
accounts are in joint tenancy?
Pay on death. If they're in joint tenancy, the joint heir will have access to that, of course. If it is single owned, they will have to have POD. Now, I would still suggest that you do POD on a joint account because if the two of you had demise at the same time, you're still in a mess. Okay? And that's free. Banks are ready for you to come and do it. Yep, that's free. That's free. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I get it all covered. We've already kind of touched on this about praying for your advisors, looking for Christian advisors. I only just now hired a company to work with us, my husband and myself. My husband is presently fighting cancer, and we're going through crazy questions and some silly stuff and some hard stuff. And we had to have a lot of crucial conversations. And I have had this big gonna pile, because we're still young. We're still young. He's not as young as I am. He's 20 years older than me. But I still think, oh, we have time. We have time. Now, friends, I do this for a living. I've changed my trust probably 4 times through the years, because our family's changed and everything's changing. Our businesses have changed, our incomes, our homes have changed, everything's changed. But at the same time, I keep thinking I'm going to get with an advisor to help me with this question, that question, this question, that question. And then I don't do it. So his diagnosis has made me do it. And I was telling these guys while I was here, we try to have a weekly date. You saw him, how cute he is, right? I mean, how could you not date the guy? He's so cute. So we try to have a weekly date. And last week we went to the funeral home and bought our packages. And we got in the car and he said, that was the worst date ever. I said, well, you're not wrong, babe. You're not wrong. But it's done. And then our kids don't have to worry about that. Because I know how this is going to go. Bill's oldest boy is a banker. His second boy is an anesthesiologist. And our daughter is an artist. She's lovely. She's a stay-at-home mom. She's actually a sign language interpreter by education. That's what she went to college for. And she's just a lovely, lovely person. But those 2 boys will run over her. They are strong personalities. They are brilliant, brilliant men, as is she. She's quite brilliant. But when this is all said and done, they're going to try to tell her what to do. So to circumvent all of that, my darling niece is a CPA. So guess who's the executor? It takes all of the pressure off my kids. And it puts that whole, everything we've got into the hands of a trusted advisor who loves the Lord above all things. So think about creative ways that you can do that for your own family, your own friends, your own situations. How can we make that happen in a fair and equitable way that is also honoring to God and honoring to those that we love? Does that make sense? Okay, good. Trying to find trusted advisors in the public market, again, I'm just going to say, be Nancy Drew about it. Be Nosy Nelly, whatever you want to call it. You're going to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And don't take the first CPA. Don't take the first attorney. Unless you're absolutely in love with them and you've vetted it and you know it's perfectly safe and you know their reputation and you've seen their gift fulfillment and that you know that they're going to follow donor intention. What do you think is my number one question with a major donor when I am helping them with their estate? What do you think is my number one question? I ask them, how do you like to be recognized? And at the end of all of this, what do you want to be known for as your legacy? What do you want to be known for? If you can answer those questions and back into all of this process, the Lord will lead you. The Lord will lead you in that. So, your legacy is so much more than your portfolio. I've seen some amazing gifts come from people who had almost nothing to give financially, but they had poured their heart, soul, blood, love, and tears into the organization that we serve together. I also had a lovely woman who, when I was at Red Cross, had been a swim instructor until she was 90. And she and her sister had a beautiful home down in the historic district of Colorado. They had kept everything they'd ever garnered in their entire life, so you had to kind of go through a trail of this house, but they were collectors. They were cute. If you think about the Baldwin sisters on the Waltons, remember those gals on the Waltons? That's kind of who they make you think of. They were Quakers. So the one sister passed away first, and then our esteemed swim instructor. At 90 years old, she decided she better quit teaching swim lessons, and I asked her, why'd you quit? She swam every day. I said, why'd you quit? She said, well, Jill, I wouldn't just tell anybody this. She said, but I'll tell you. The last time I took a dive and my teeth came out as I was going down, she said, have you ever tried to find your own teeth in the bottom of the pool, in the hide, and in the deep end? I said, I've never had to do that before. But she was looking for her teeth in the deep end, and she said, it's time to quit at that point. Anyway, so we chatted quite a bit and visited with her about what she wanted and how she wanted it to take place. And she said, well, I'll let you know if I'm ready to put together a plan. I'll let you know. I never heard another word from her. And probably, I don't know, a year, maybe 18 months later, she passed. And then I get an attorney knock at the headquarters office where I was at, and he said, I have a codicil that's come to maturity. That's what happens when you're in my lingo is when a estate is going to close, it's come to a maturity. It means the person has passed. This codicil has come to maturity. I want to talk to you about it. Friends, those darling sisters left us everything in that house, that property, and everything they owned. It was nearly $3 million. Everything, all of it. I have to think it's because we cared enough to listen to the dive stories or acknowledge her, appreciate her, whatever it is. But I'm just going to also encourage you to invest in those that invest in you. And think about what that looks like as you pray through this in your giving to your charities. What is your legacy? What do you want? Okay? So, I will never forget her. And we're going to take some questions now. I left about 10 minutes here. Go ahead.
Okay, so is there any problem with, for some individuals, where I might want to say, of our gross estate, I want 10% to go to this person and 10% to that, versus having to list specific dollars amounts, which might change?
That's a great question. Yeah, we kind of alluded to that earlier. Yes, you can do distributions on your estate plan by percentages. It's a great way to do it. Because no matter what the flux is in your portfolio from now until the time of your demise, it will adjust and the percentages will stay the same. And it's a great way to do it. Perfect question. Other questions?
Well, Stu and I have been working a lot on giving upon our death. And one thing that we finally realized this year is we give to all these missionaries. And if we're gone, all of a sudden they don't get their support. And they can't just run home from overseas and raise more support.
Right.
So how are we providing for these missionaries and
Yes.
giving them time to build the support they're losing because we're gone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it isn't, so there's even more to it than just our church and
Yes.
organizations we appreciate.
Long-term giving plan, yeah. So that's a great example. So you can in your estate plan say, we give to ABC Charity for XYZ missions, and we want enough funds to fund that for 10 years. You can make a gift of time, a limited time gift. It's not a gift of perpetuity. You can do a limited time gift.
Well,
You could do that, or you could do a charitable remainder trust, whatever you wanted to do. There's all kinds of ways that you could do that.
Okay.
There's so many reflections that you can handle that in, but there are ways that you can arrange for that. Mhm. Yes.
Just an adjustment to that question.
Yes.
If you give it a limited time, let's
Uh-huh.
say you say, I want this missionary family to have 10 years of support.
Mm-hmm.
That amount of money goes to the mission, and the mission is required therefore to parse that out.
That's correct. That's it.
Okay, so your estate is not parsing it out. It's
Actually a restricted gift.
It's a lump sum.
Yes, that's correct. You can do it that way, absolutely. And much like how you can handle your kids. So, because we've had different iterations, our children have aged and things have changed now. But when they were young, if if Daddy and I both got killed at the same time, I did not want those kids to have all the money that we had
Yeah.
in the business,
Yeah.
in our life insurance policies and everything else. I didn't want those kids to have all that money. That's what you want, is teenagers on the run with money. No, thank you. So, I had executors set up, and this is what the level they could have for education, plus XY dollars for their support while being educated. And when they were a sophomore, junior in college, I would let them buy a car if their GPA was 3.8 or higher. I'm that mom. And then you put all these stipulations that you want to in it. That executor, it's up to them to see to your wishes, whatever the wishes may be. That can all be defined in the plan. Mm-hmm. Great questions. Anything else? Okay, so your takeaways should be, everybody needs a what? A will. Everybody needs a will. Some people need a trust. There's a difference between gifts. Some are restricted, some are unrestricted. Whomever you're giving to, research them. And there's a thing called donor intent. Are they following my donor intent right now? If I'm giving to the homeless shelter down the road because I care so much about the homeless, I want to know how they are spending my money now before I give them $1 million from my estate. So ask questions. I see my job as the people that give to our organization are trusted investors, and I'm a ministry partner support to them. Stewardship is king, not cash. When you're inside the charity itself, stewardship is king, because above all things, I want to keep the relationship, no matter where the finances go. It's my job to steward this family. So go ahead and ask questions now about what they're doing with your money and how they're handling it, and make sure it aligns with your values and that everything is how you want it to be going forward. Okay? It has been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful to have been here with you. Thank you.